Hello. Today we are going to go out of the school to explore our neighborhood. We explore our surroundings and we are trying to find its different elements. Work with your pair or in a small study group.
The landscape is shaped by a number of factors, and actually, the landscape changes all the time. The landscape is shaped by the Earth's internal and external factors. Internal factors include the corrugations of the mountains, volcanic activity, earthquakes, and tectonic movements. These factors increase the altitude differences on Earth. At the same time, the landscape is influenced by external factors. These external forces or factors are those that eat away the surface and this way lower the landscape in general. Such force or factor is, for example, erosion, which is due to wind, water, glacier, or weathering. There are three types of weathering: 1. Frost damage, 2. Heat damage, and 3. Chemical damage. When temperatures vary a lot, even rocks move and pieces fall off from rocks and mountains. This way water and rain get into the crevices. Then water freezes and the ice wedges pieces out of the rock. This is therefore called frost damage. Same kind of cleavage happens when the temperatures are really different between night and day. These changes are common, for example, in deserts. This phenomenon is called heat damage. In the chemical weathering, acids dissolved in the water cause erosion. Why there are acids in the water or rain? Cars and they exhaust fumes as well as the fuel gases from plants delivers acid to the water and rain. Marble and limestone are highly sensitive to chemical weathering. During the Ice Age, the landscape was transformed in many ways. For example, U-shaped valleys that are typical in alpine countries are a result of the Ice Age. Some ridges, which may include some kettles as well as small ponds, potholes, boulders, ancient shores or beaches, are fjords that took shape during the Ice Age. Running or flowing water changes the landscape as well. Water is powerful as it moves. It A. erodes the soil, B. transports pieces of soil with it, and C. piles up the soil, forming bends and changing riverbeds, which may result into separate lakes in the old riverbeds. If there is no water left in the old riverbeds, those areas will shape the landscape and become V-valleys. River carries sediments with it. This sediment is piling up in the estuaries just before the river flows into an ocean, sea, lake, or reservoir, sometimes another river. This landform is called delta. Waves and tides transform the beaches. As water hits beaches and rocks, the cliffs begin to crumble. First, the lowest parts of the cliff is affected, resulting cavities and hollows. After some time, the cavity will collapse totally, and this way the coastline is no longer the same. This happens all the time, for instance, in the English coast. Imagine a river below ground. When this river has flown over the years, it has carved caves into the limestone. This way stalactites are formed. Stalagmites are formed by water. Water drops from the ceiling of a cave. This water and materials in it accumulate on the floor of the cave. This way huge stalagmites may be formed and it looks like they would rise from the floor of the cave. Wind. Dunes are formed in the regions where there is not much vegetation. Dunes are formed by wind. In order to keep dunes in their place, people tend to plant vegetation to these sandy areas. Blowing wind exports sand. This sand also erodes its environment, especially rocks, cliffs, and buildings. If you have been near to a sandy beach or court, you know how sharp even the tiniest sand grains can be. They tingle on your skin if it is windy weather.